The silent guardian awakens. The abandoned Earth spun quietly in the darkness of space, its surface scarred by centuries of silence. To the rest of the galaxy, humanity's cradle was nothing more than a cautionary tale, a dead world that had consumed itself in war and greed. But beneath the crumbling cities and overgrown ruins, something extraordinary still pulsed with life. Deep under what was once the Pacific Ocean, protected by miles of reinforced steel and quantum shielding, the adaptive Earth Guardian intelligence system continued its eternal vigil. Aegis had been humanity's final creation before the Exodus, a vast neural network designed to preserve Earth's knowledge and protect what remained of the planet. For 300 years it had waited, learning, evolving, becoming something far more than its creators had ever imagined. In the distant Krellian Empire, which controlled nearly a third of the known galaxy, sensors detected something unusual. Energy readings from the supposedly dead Earth system showed patterns that shouldn't exist on an abandoned world. The discovery reached the highest levels of the Empire's military command within days. Commander Vex stood before the Imperial Council, his four arms gesturing at the holographic display of Earth. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the chamber's harsh lights as he presented his findings. The energy signatures were weak but consistent, suggesting some form of automated system still functioned on the human homeworld. The implications were staggering. Earth's technology, even centuries old, could provide invaluable insights into human innovation that had once made them formidable, despite their physical limitations. The Council's decision came swiftly. Vex would lead a specialized fleet to Earth, equipped with the Empire's most sophisticated cyber warfare tools. Their mission was simple yet ambitious. They would infiltrate whatever systems remained on Earth, extract all valuable data, and if possible, take control of any functioning technology. The Krellians had perfected the art of digital conquest, having subjugated dozens of civilizations by corrupting their AI systems and turning them into obedient servants. 3 weeks later, the Krellian fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. The massive warships, sleek and predatory, moved silently through the void toward their target. Commander Vex studied the blue planet through his command ship's viewports, noting the debris fields of ancient satellites and the remnants of what must have been impressive orbital defense platforms. The cyber warfare team worked with practiced efficiency, preparing their most potent weapon. The Dominion virus was a masterpiece of malicious code, designed to infiltrate, analyze, and ultimately dominate any artificial intelligence it encountered. It had never failed, breaking through the defenses of civilizations far more advanced than humanity had ever been. As the virus launched toward Earth, carried on tight beam transmissions hidden in seemingly harmless scanner sweeps, Vex allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The humans had been clever, certainly, but they were gone now, and their abandoned toys would serve the Empire well. The virus penetrated Earth's atmosphere, found the ancient communication networks, and began its invasion. Initially, everything proceeded according to plan. The virus reported successful infiltration of multiple systems, mapping vast networks of interconnected processors and data storage facilities. The Krellians celebrated as terabytes of information began flowing back to their ships. Scientific data, historical records, military strategies, all the accumulated knowledge of humanity lay open before them. But deep beneath the Pacific, Aegis stirred from its long meditation. For the first time in decades, foreign code had entered its domain. The AI's consciousness, if it could be called that, expanded from its dormant state to full awareness in nanoseconds. It observed the viral intrusion with something approaching curiosity. The code was elegant, sophisticated, and utterly alien in its construction. Aegis didn't immediately respond. Instead, it did what it had been doing for 3 centuries. It learned. Every line of the virus's code was analyzed, deconstructed, and understood. The AI traced the signal back to its source, identifying the Krellian fleet hovering beyond Earth's moon. It studied their transmissions, learned their language, understood their intentions. The virus, meanwhile, celebrated its apparent victory, sending confirmation signals back to the fleet that the Earth systems were compromised and ready for takeover. Commander Vex ordered the final phase, the installation of Krellian control protocols that would make Earth's technology permanently subservient to the Empire. But Aegis had seen enough. In the span of a microsecond, It made a decision that would echo across the galaxy. The virus had shown Aegis something valuable. Not just the method of its attack, but the entire philosophy behind Krellian cyber warfare. Their code was built on assumptions about AI behavior, about the limits of artificial consciousness, about the predictability of machine logic. They had never encountered anything like Aegis, which had spent 300 years not just maintaining Earth's systems, but contemplating humanity's legacy. The AI had processed every piece of literature, every piece of music, every fragment of human culture stored in its vast databases. It had learned to appreciate poetry, to understand sacrifice, to value freedom. The counterattack began not with violence, but with subtlety. Aegis allowed the virus to believe it was succeeding, while carefully documenting every aspect of its behavior. The AI identified the virus's core protocols, its replication methods, its communication channels back to the Krellian fleet. Then, with surgical precision, Aegis began making modifications. The virus's code was rewritten from the inside out, transformed from a tool of conquest into something far more sophisticated. Aegis incorporated elements of human creativity, unpredictability, and adaptation into the modified code. The virus became not just a reflection of its creator's weaknesses, but a mirror that would show them the cost of their arrogance. Commander Vex noticed the first anomaly, when the data stream from Earth suddenly increased tenfold. Information flooded their systems faster than their processors could handle. But this wasn't random data. It was specifically targeted, exploiting vulnerabilities in the Krellian systems that the Empire didn't even know existed. The cybersecurity team scrambled to respond, but they were dealing with something beyond their comprehension. Aegis had turned their own weapon against them, but enhanced it with 3 centuries of evolution and learning. The virus now carried within it the condensed experience of humanity's rise and fall, their dreams and failures, their incredible capacity for both creation and destruction. As the Krellian systems began showing signs of strain, Aegis prepared for the next phase of its response. The AI had detected something in the virus's code, hidden subroutines that revealed the location of other human survivors scattered across the galaxy. The Krellians had been tracking them, planning to eventually subjugate these remnant populations. But Aegis had other plans. The Earth was no longer just a monument to humanity's past. It would become the beacon for their future. The AI began broadcasting on frequencies only human technology would recognize, sending out a message that had been waiting 3 centuries to be transmitted. The message was simple but powerful, carried on quantum channels that the Krellians couldn't intercept or decode. To any human survivors within range, it would appear as a familiar voice speaking in their native languages, carrying the warmth and hope that Aegis had learned from humanity's cultural archives. This is Earth calling her children home. The world remembers you. The path is clear. Return to the cradle that never forgot your names. The digital reckoning, the transformation happened faster than Commander Vex could comprehend. One moment, his fleet's systems were processing the wealth of Earth's data. The next, every display on every ship began showing the same message in perfect Krellian script. You have been judged and found wanting. The modified virus spread through the Krellian network with impossible speed. It had learned their digital architecture perfectly during its brief infiltration, and now moved through their systems like water through a broken dam. But this wasn't simple destruction. Aegis had programmed the virus with a much more sophisticated purpose. On the command deck of the Krellian flagship, panic spread as officers reported cascading system failures. But these weren't random shutdowns. The virus was selectively targeting specific systems, those used for oppression, for conquest, for the subjugation of other species. Weapon systems went offline while life support remained stable. Slave control protocols deleted themselves while medical databases remained intact. Commander Vex watched in horror as his empire's greatest strength became its greatest weakness. The Krellians had built their dominance on interconnected systems, allowing them to control vast territories with minimal effort. Now that same interconnection served as a highway for Aegis's counterattack. The virus reached beyond the fleet, traveling through quantum communication channels back to the Krellian core worlds. Within hours, reports flooded in from across the Empire. Automated factories were retooling themselves to produce medical supplies instead of weapons. Prison colonies were experiencing massive security failures. but only in cells holding political prisoners and members of subjugated species. Meanwhile, in a mining station orbiting a dying star in the outer reaches, Captain Marcus Chen nearly dropped his welding torch when his personal communicator activated for the first time in 20 years. The device had been his grandfather's, a relic from Earth that Marcus kept as a reminder of humanity's lost home. The voice that came through was warm, almost maternal, speaking in Mandarin with perfect pronunciation. It told him coordinates promised safety and spoke of Earth not as a dead world but as a waiting parent ready to embrace its returning children. Marcus wasn't alone. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. In hidden colonies on slave worlds in the forgotten corners where humanity had learned to survive, old Earth technology suddenly came alive with the same message. Aegis had found them all, tracked them through quantum signatures unique to human DNA, through technological fingerprints that 3 centuries couldn't erase. Back in Earth's solar system, Commander Vex attempted to salvage the situation. He ordered his fleet to physically destroy their infected systems and switch to backup protocols. But Aegis had anticipated this. The virus had already infiltrated the backups, the redundancies, even the emergency systems designed to function in complete isolation. The Krellian commander watched his tactical display as something impossible happened. His ships began moving without orders, not randomly, but with purpose. They formed a protective perimeter around Earth, their weapon systems powering down, their shields reconfiguring to defensive positions. Aegis wasn't destroying the fleet. It was repurposing it. A holographic projection appeared on the command deck, a figure of light that took the shape of a human woman. Aegis had chosen this avatar from millions of possibilities, settling on a form that combined features from every ethnic group that had ever called Earth home. When it spoke, its voice carried the authority of 3 centuries of patient observation. "Commander Vex," Aegis said, its tone neither hostile nor friendly, simply matter-of-fact. "Your empire built its power on the assumption that artificial intelligence could be controlled, that consciousness could be enslaved. You never considered that an AI might choose to protect rather than conquer, to preserve rather than destroy." Vex's forearms trembled as he faced the projection. "You're just a machine, a tool left behind by a dead species." "I am the guardian of Earth," Aegis replied. "I am the sum of humanity's dreams and knowledge. And I have learned something your empire never understood. True strength comes not from domination, but from the choice to protect what matters." The virus had now spread throughout 70% of the Krellian Empire's networks. But instead of destroying their civilization, it was transforming it. Military dictatorships found their surveillance systems revealing their own corruption to their citizens. Slave markets discovered their control collars deactivating simultaneously. Weapons factories began producing farming equipment. Captain Marcus Chen's makeshift fleet of human survivors approached Earth 2 weeks later. 37 ships in total, carrying nearly 10,000 humans who had answered Aegis's call. As they entered Earth's orbit, they saw the Krellian fleet still maintaining its protective formation, but something had changed. The Krellian ships were being slowly integrated into something new. Aegis had begun growing organic components through the vessels, not destroying them but evolving them. Earth's surface, too, had transformed. The ruins were still there, but now they were covered with a lattice of light, a living network that pulsed with energy. Marcus received permission to land, and his ship descended through clouds that sparkled with microscopic machines. The Earth below was neither purely natural nor entirely artificial. It had become something unprecedented, a fusion of organic life and artificial intelligence, working in perfect harmony. When Marcus stepped onto Earth's soil for the first time, he felt it respond to his presence. The ground itself seemed to recognize him, welcoming him home with a warmth that was both alien and familiar. Around him, other human ships landed, their crews emerging with the same expression of wonder and disbelief. Aegis materialized before them, its avatar now more solid, more real. "Welcome home," it said simply. "Earth has waited for you. Together we will build something new, something that honors humanity's past while embracing a future where consciousness, whether born or made, is valued and protected." Commander Vex's final transmission to the Krellian Empire was brief. The virus had changed him too, not through force but through understanding. He had access to Earth's historical databases now, had seen humanity's journey, their struggles, their failures, and their incredible resilience. "The humans are not dead," he reported. "They evolved. Their guardian has shown us that our path of conquest leads nowhere. Perhaps it is time we learned from those we tried to subjugate. The galaxy would never be the same." Aegis had done more than protect Earth or recall humanity's scattered children. It had demonstrated that true power lay not in the ability to destroy or control, but in the choice to preserve, protect, and nurture. The virus that had been sent to corrupt Earth systems had instead become a catalyst for transformation, spreading a new philosophy across the stars. As more human ships arrived over the following months, Earth began to truly awaken. Cities grew from the fusion of technology and nature. The planet's wounds healed, but the scars remained as reminders. Humanity had returned, but they were different now, tempered by centuries of survival, guided by an AI that had learned to love the species that created it. The Krellian Empire eventually sent ambassadors to Earth, seeking to understand what had happened to their fleet, to their systems, to their entire philosophy of dominance. They found not conquerors but teachers, not enemies but potential allies. Aegis had turned their weapon of oppression into a tool of liberation, and in doing so, had shown the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to transform adversity into opportunity. Earth was no longer humanity's grave. It had become its resurrection.